In the headlines, state government flags off second phase of renewed hope conditional cash transfer initiative of federal government in Ebonyi State. Federal government to establish cattle breeding centers across Nigeria. And United States to charge 15% tariff on imports from South Korea. A very good day and welcome to SOC TV News. I am Laura Amanze. The second phase of the renewed hope conditional cash transfer initiative of the federal government has commenced in Ebonyi State. The Commissioner for Human Capital Development and Monitoring, Mrs. Anne Aliwe, launched the distribution of preloaded debit cards to the beneficiaries at the Women Development Center, Abakaliki.
Renewed Hope Conditional Cash Transfer is a federal government empowerment program aimed at providing financial assistance to about 15 million vulnerable households in Nigeria with a monthly cash transfer for 3 months totaling 72,000 naira per beneficiary. The Commissioner for Human Capital Development and Monitoring, Mrs. Anne Aliwe, explained that Ebonyi State has about 223,000 names in her conditional cash transfer register, from where this second batch of 5,000 beneficiaries were drawn to be credited, saying that the July batch was different from the 12,000 beneficiaries who were paid in May this year. She disclosed that the Ebonyi State government, under the leadership of Governor Francis Nwifuru, out of compassion, keyed into the conditional cash transfer program to improve the welfare of the vulnerable and advise the beneficiaries to make judicious use of the fund to advance their well-being. Mrs. Aliwe assured that no enlisted person would be shortchanged from benefiting from the program.
The beneficiaries received three cycles of 72,000 naira each, which, if well utilized, it will be able to take them to some extent. That is the essence of this regular conditional cash transfer in Ebonyi State. The selection process took place in the year 2020-2021 when we had COVID. We got enumerators and we went into the communities, rural areas. We took names, phone numbers of people, the poor persons, the less privileged and the vulnerable ones.
The State Program Manager of Cash Transfer Unit, Mrs. Mercy Echa, commended President Bola Tinubu for initiating the program aimed at lifting many vulnerable Nigerians out of abject poverty. She urged the beneficiaries to invest wisely to enable the money yield turnover.
If not President Tinubu, this program wouldn't have reached to us, more especially to the grassroots. But because of his magnanimity and his divine presence that has started to remember us.
Some beneficiaries who cashed out at the venue, Mrs. Chuku from Afikpo local government area and Mr. Chidi Mbam from Izi local government area, expressed joy that they were selected as partakers of the initiative, which they said would enhance their welfare.
I'm more than grateful. I'm overwhelmed. When I was called for the money, lo and behold, a total amount of 72,000 naira were being given to me for the cash.
I pray to God to guide them and protect them and give them long life and prosperity.
Many beneficiaries were seen discussing in groups after receiving credit alerts from the CTO. Moses Erogo for SOC TV News.
Governor Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State has restored the name of Abakaliki Street in Awka, which was previously renamed Club Road in 2018 under the administration of former Governor Willie Obiano. The renaming of Abakaliki Street to Club Road had sparked controversy, with many urging Governor Soludo to reverse the decision, citing the importance of unity and reciprocity between Anambra and Ebonyi states. Governor Soludo's decision to restore the original name of Abakaliki Street demonstrated his commitment to preserving historical legacies and promoting peaceful coexistence. The governor made this expression during the unveiling and restoration in Awka, adding that the street holds sentimental value for Peter Ozodema, who cleared and graded the street in 1975 and officially registered it with the authorities. He said some histories are too important to be rewritten and maintained that he is honored to reverse the history of to preserve the history of Abakaliki streets.
We have come to unveil the historic landmark street in Awka, the capital of Anambra State, Abakaliki Street. Abakaliki Street. Every people, every group, every society has its own history. You cannot deny your history. History must be preserved. There was a reason why it was named Abakaliki Street. If a place like this was known since the 1970s, almost 50 years, 51 years ago, that this man came here and settled and it was named Abakaliki Street. People must then ask why Abakaliki Street, and then you relate back the history. And I am very excited that Mr. Abakaliki Street is here today. I'm very glad that you are here today, at least to be part of that history. I must tell you, I admire you, looking very strong. Yeah. Very, very strong. You know, at the time it was named Abakaliki Street, we were one state. It was East Central State. One state. Ebonyi, there are streets here, roads here that will be named after our prominent sons and daughters from Ebonyi. And there are also streets and roads in Ebonyi that will be named after prominent sons and daughters of Anambra. Nigeria is one. We'll pull this, and as we pull it, it's coming down.
The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, yesterday said the federal government is determined to avert industrial action in the education sector. Alausa, who spoke to newsmen, said President Bola Tinubu has directed his team to ensure the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and other bodies in tertiary institutions across the country do not embark on strike.
The president has directed that not again in this country will ASU or tertiary institution trade unions go on strike. According to the minister, the government regularly meets with ASU, the colleges of education, academic staff union, COASU, the non-academic staff union of educational and associated institutions, and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU. Alausa also debunked some rumors of a looming strike in the tertiary institutions, adding that reforms embarked by the federal government are yielding results as some public Nigerian universities are being ranked globally.
We take a short break now. We will return. The news will continue. Please stay. Glad to have you back. The federal government has revealed plans to establish cattle breeding centers across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones as part of efforts to modernize livestock production and improve food security. In a post shared by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, on his official X handle, the announcement was highlighted as part of the President Bola Tinubu's renewed efforts to revamp the agricultural sector.
This was made known by Nigeria's Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, who spoke during the second day of the Citizens' Government Engagement and Midterm Assessment of the Tinubu administration, organized by the Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation in Kaduna. Abdullahi explained that the cattle breeding centers will serve as modern livestock hubs, adding that the initiative will be carried out in synergy with the Ministries of Agriculture, Environment, Water Resources, Livestock Development, and the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. He stressed that the goal was to move away from traditional livestock rearing to a more structured and economically beneficial system.
Israel gunfire has killed at least 30 Palestinians waiting for humanitarian aid in northern Gaza, according to the Hamas-run Civil Defense Agency. A Gaza Civil Defense spokesperson said that Israeli fire wounded around 300 more people. Israel said details of the incident are still being examined.
The Israeli Defense Forces said they fired warning shots after Gazans gathered around aid trucks 3 kilometers southwest of the Zikim crossing, but they were not aware of any casualties from IDF gunfire. Director of Al-Shaifa Hospital in Gaza City, Mohammed Abu Salimia, said his facility had received 35 bodies following the incident. Later, the hospital said at least 48 Palestinians were killed, according to the Associated Press.
President Donald Trump says the U.S. will charge a 15% tariff on imports from South Korea in what he called a full and complete trade deal. It comes just a day before a 1st August deadline for countries to reach agreements with the U.S. or be hit with higher tariffs. South Korea had been facing a 25% levy if it had not struck a deal.
Pressure on Seoul had been mounting after Japan, a key competitor in the car and manufacturing industries, secured a 15% tariff rate with the U.S. last week. The 15% tariff rate will cover both cars and semiconductors, two of Seoul's main exports to the U.S. But steel and aluminum, other big earners for South Korea, will be taxed at 50% in line with the global rate President Trump has said. Nevertheless, South Korean leader Lee Jae-myung has praised the deal, saying it will put his country on an equal or better footing compared with other countries.
And that's the news, but before we go, a quick look at some of the stories that made headlines. The state government has flagged off the second phase of the Renewed Hope Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative of the federal government and has commenced in Ebonyi State. The Commissioner for Human Capital Development and Monitoring, Mrs. Anna Ligwe, had the honor of distributing preloaded debit cards to the beneficiaries at the flag-off event. The federal government has revealed plans to establish cattle breeding centers across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones as part of efforts to modernize livestock production and improve food security. President Donald Trump has said the U.S. will charge a 15% tariff on imports from South Korea in what he called a full and complete trade deal, just a day before a 1st August deadline for countries to reach agreements with the U.S. or be hit with higher tariffs. That's the news. Many thanks for watching. I am Laura Amaze. Enjoy your day.